Hey,
Hey,
guess what?
another video?
Maybe. You want to know what we're doing this time?
What?
The role of myth.
Roll myth.
Yeah. Not the role of meth.
No, I
That-
didn't say
that-
meth.
I
I said myth.
I know.
Y, not E, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Like Greek mythology?
That's probably what we'll focus on,
Okay.
considering we're talking about Greek tragedy for the most part in this little series of stuff.
I have very little knowledge.
Very little.
Very little.
Okay. What do you know about science?
I know science.
Really? Like, what do you know?
I know a little biology, a little chemistry.
Give me some science facts.
Plants need sunlight to grow.
Oh, what's the process of plants gathering energy from sunlight called?
I think it starts with a C.
No. Do I have to teach you science too?
Well, if you said the word, I would know the word.
Photosynthesis.
Oh, yeah.
Photo from photons.
I get it.
Synthesis from.
You're right.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm right. You don't have to tell me that.
I think I was thinking of cryogenics, which is not about plants.
That's more sci-fi than science.
Okay, let's move on. I know H2O is water. That's science, right?
Oh, do you know what H2O stands for?
Hydrogen and oxygen.
Dihydrogen monoxide.
Well, H is hydrogen, O is oxygen, O2 is oxygen. I know that.
There aren't two oxygen molecules in water though.
Okay, whatever.
It's two hydrogen. That's
Whatever.
mono is one.
It's been
O2.
a long time since I've taken a class.
Okay. Anyway.
Sodium is in A. I know that. Does that help?
Not with this.
Okay, well then let's move on.
So yeah, no. Nietzsche. Could be said Nietzsche didn't like science. Probably considered it very Socratic, which we talked about Socrates and his bad tendencies to not like stuff he didn't really understand, like theater, tragedy. Socrates didn't really get tragedy, so he didn't like it much. So,
He didn't fake it like I did, like he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So, no. So, yeah, Nietzsche didn't really like science. He thought it was very passionless. Like, I mean, there could be passionate scientists, but in the pursuit of knowledge, they lose sight of kind of the important stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the idea Nietzsche is given off. So, I would say Nietzsche would probably advocate for he would probably like a more like mythological based system where we may have the knowledge, but we use stories and what could be considered fiction to explain it, like the Greek myths do. Like you have actually a kind of a good example, just coming from philosophy, is there's a Platonic dialogue, so a dialogue that was written by Plato, and in a lot of Plato's dialogues, Socrates was kind of the main character because Socrates was Plato's teacher. And in the dialogue, it's there's a group of people like getting together just to drink wine, and they eventually get to philosophizing, and it's like they're trying to determine how uh, shit it's one where they're trying to like determine like soulmates, almost like kind of an origin of man situation. And part of it is like, so you have some like pretty famous names like showing up in this dialogue. Like you have Socrates, and then another one is Aristophanes, who wrote comedies. And I think he's the one who, in his like tale, he basically talks about how, it's the, I think it's the generation of this like different sexes, like different genders. So I believe it was like Plato writing like Aristophanes speaking, that basically men and women started as one being, where they had 4 legs, 4 arms, and 2 heads, and they were basically like facing away from each other. Like the heads were like going
like back to back, or
yeah,
okay,
and they were just kind of like a round shape, like almost spherical, and
kind of like me. Sorry.
and like no, like an actual sphere.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. One day, as humans are wont to do in Greek mythology, they pissed off the gods. Zeus specifically, I believe. Like, I believe Zeus is mentioned, like, by name. So, Zeus being Zeus, and Greek gods being a little fickle, like, they don't like being tricked, wronged. Threw a lightning bolt and basically cut people in half. And because they didn't feel whole, they would just eventually like lie down and die. So one day and I don't remember this like word for word, but then one day another god or goddess decided to like turn their heads around so that they could meet each other and become one. Talking about sex, probably. So, like, yeah, Nietzsche would just probably prefer like a system of where myth is our way of like explaining the universe and occurrences within it. Like, there's probably also like some cultural aspects where myth is important to how a culture develops. So the role of myth is important because like myth as we'll just label it as an entity. It grows and evolves with the culture it appears in. Like actually, an example of like modern day myth. You have stuff like Slender Man and what's referred to as creepypasta, which are just like stories on the internet. So like, so basically the culture of the internet generation has just spawned new myth.
Okay.
And like you also actually see it a lot in film nowadays, like especially like the Marvel films, like the superhero movies. You see like a lot of myth happening there, and it's just like it's a cultural aspect that kind of gets lost with the development of science. So yeah, like myth Myth is important because it gives us a sense of self, and it allows us to have an opportunity to explain things that science may not be able to explain. So
That makes sense.
cool. Wow. It seems like the last one might have been the easiest for you.
I don't know. I have a question about Nietzsche though.
Yeah.
Just from our discussions
Yeah.
in layman, simple terms. Basically, he's like a passionate person.
Oh yeah. Like Nietzsche has a bad rap of being a nihilist, but when you actually read Nietzsche, he's the complete opposite. Like his whole shtick is basically the reaffirmation of life and passion and love and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like
I just wanted to make sure that I had the right concept.
yeah, like uh, like right at the beginning of the last year of Nietzsche's life, and this kind of I think this story like really demonstrates what kind of person Nietzsche was. I believe he was in Italy. I'm actually pretty sure he was in Italy, and it was either Italy or Switzerland. I don't remember the story well enough. I don't remember like the where this takes place. But the story goes that Nietzsche came across a man and a horse, or a man beating a horse that not Nietzsche owned, but the guy beating the horse owned. And he was so overcome with emotion that he actually had like a pretty like severe breakdown right there and collapsed like I can't remember if he was trying to shield the horse or just like hugging it, but he was like just having like this huge emotional like psychological break at this moment because he saw this cruelty happening, and he never actually recovered from it. Like he died. I can't remember the month or day, but he died in the year 1900.
Wow.
Yeah. Over 100 years ago. And actually in the last year of his life, even though he hated his sister for once again being a huge Nazi supporter, his sister had to take care of him before his death. And once again, like a lot of Nietzsche's bad rap comes from his sister like editing his works to like sympathize with Nazi ideals.
Oh, okay.
Like she would even actually charge like admission to like take photos and stuff with the great philosopher.
Wow.
Yeah. His sister kind of sucks.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.